I'm Raul from Kung Fu Culture, and here we have Eric Urmanita, Urmanita from Los Angeles. And so you've been training in Sanda for a little while now, and you were saying something about like it was harder than you expected. Can you? Well, first of all, welcome.
Thanks, thank you. Nice to make it on the martial arts YouTube for a change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
It's an interesting place. A lot of martial arts YouTubers I follow that definitely your channel as well. But yeah, just wanted to do martial arts for a long time. Finally started a few years ago and then got back into it last year. But started training with you around May. Yeah.
So what were some of the martial arts that you started before Sanda?
So I did start with Muay Thai first. I found it to be like it's simplistic and basic, but effective. So if anyone gets a chance, definitely try out Muay Thai. It's a really great martial art. And then for personal reasons, I had to stop doing it. And then last year, I started learning Choli Foot, which is a form of Southern Kung Fu. That was really something that was eye-opening for me because it was my first real kind of like traditional martial art, and it was really kind of like I had a really good sifu that really kind of like helped explain like, you know, how to like bridge application from the traditional, you know what I mean? And then, but on the back burner, I always like I had seen Sanda videos while I was doing Muay Thai, and like that was something that really interested me in like MMA, just without ground game, but heavily like Chinese based, and that was something that really intrigued me. Wasn't too fan of like, oh crap, do I have to do the kicks? that was like because I could do a pretty decent like Muay Thai roundhouse kick, and my push kick's okay. But then I started doing like before I started training with you, I actually started doing the Sanda side kick on my own. And that became one of my favorite kicks to do. And so, and then eventually I like just reached out to you, and then here we are. that's the long and short of it. But yeah, it's been training with you since May. And answer your question on grappling, it's definitely a lot harder than I thought. Like for me, it was easy to do striking because there's just something so satisfying just about landing a punch on someone. But for me, grappling was a lot more difficult because like, oh wow, that's like a whole new like ball game into itself, because that's something you really kind of have to like, oh, this is basic physics. It's almost like basic physics and gravity. You really have to like go full into it, and then we really got to work on that upper strength, as it were. But yeah, it's fun to catch kicks, but then when you try and go for a double leg takedown, like you just gotta like hope it works for the best and then go from there.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that maybe people don't realize. Because yeah, like you said, it's like striking can be so satisfying, and I think in general,
I don't recommend anyone going to fight anyone though in public. Just clarifying that. So I just want to say.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're definitely not talking about like landing a punch on some random.
No. But it is something about satisfying, just like learning how to strike, but that's besides the point.
Wait, but I think say like in general, like a lay person who hasn't ever trained and just is watching fighting. I think you've even seen this a lot in MMA, where it's like if a fight starts standing, everyone's excited with the people kind of trading blows and all that, but then when it gets to the ground, if it kind of stays on the ground, you'll start hearing people yell like "stand 'em up, ref," and all that stuff. So it just shows that that audience in particular is the most like versed in the grappling stuff, and I think it shows also that striking is a little bit easier for people to kind of understand, right? Or it's like you throw a punch, it hits someone, and maybe they're hurt by it or not, but it's very easy to see that whole cause and effect. But the grappling stuff has a lot more nuance to it. So when you kind of start mixing the grappling and the striking the way Sanda does, right? It's like it opens up this whole new world that, and actually, so I'd like definitely for you to talk about this. So like Sanda and Muay Thai both have like some kick catches and some like sweeps and stuff.
Yeah.
But how would you describe the difference between the two?
I mean, Sanda, like their catches are a lot more fast paced. I would say, like Muay Thai, it's all about like power, and like really, it's kind of like going. It's like swinging a baseball bat, but when you throw Sanda in the mix, it's really about like, okay, there's like 100 different ways I can like. So I can. There's like one way to catch your leg, but there are different ways to take you down. You can either like, or I can like punch you, I can throw you, I can like maybe sweep you. There's different ways to do it. Muay Thai, from my experience, they just basically sweep you, or they can just hit you. There's not really a lot of throws in Muay Thai. It's just the clinch that's really the most they do for grappling, aside from the catches and the sweeps. But like I like Sanda a lot more because it's a little bit more well-rounded. It does lack a ground game. It doesn't have like a jiu-jitsu or a catch wrestling element. Shout out to Catch Wrestling Lines, by the way. Go check his other channel out. Some fantastic stuff. But it is. I think what's great though is that like Sanda is a really good base to get into like MMA or other forms of martial arts or combat sports, and so it's a good like introduction into grappling. So if you want to keep doing Sanda, but you want to add some grappling into it, maybe do some jiu-jitsu or catch wrestling. And I know you've catch wrestling is something I have been interested in doing. I just don't have the time at the moment for it, unfortunately. But it's just that seems like something that really like it smoothly like goes together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's actually something I probably want to ask you. Might as well do it right now. But yeah, like
sure.
Do you feel like Sanda and catch wrestling are probably like the better blend for not only like MMA but kind of being a well-rounded fighter?
I mean, being well-rounded in general. I mean, you should learn a little bit of everything. I would definitely say I would say it's good to be like, you should be really good at one base. I learned this from Icy Mike, Hard to Hurt of all people. He goes like, you should be really good at one thing, and then like pretty good at like a few other things. So if your basis is in striking, really focus on that. But then if you want to add like grappling to the mix, you definitely should. But I definitely think that you should definitely try all things, or try as much as you can, because it's all about like, it's a learning process. Like we're human beings, we always keep learning. Like I don't think we should ever stop learning, honestly. So yeah, I would say definitely. I don't know for say because I haven't really done any grappling outside of just what Sanda has, but I would really have to try jiu-jitsu or catch wrestling to see which one fits. I know you've said that like catch wrestling really fits with Sanda really well. I mean, both do have a wrestling like basis. I mean, obviously catch wrestling, but there's the Shuaijia element, and Sanda really has that wrestling base to it. So that's probably why they mix so well together. I think for me right now, I would say I'd have to try it first in order to like really see how well they meld. But I don't really have anything further to add on that, but just gotta try stuff. That's all.
Okay. Have you watched a lot of in professional MMA right now? A lot of the Chinese women, and actually some of the Chinese men, right, have Sanda base, and they're doing
like Zhang Weilei, right?
Yes. But even so, you have a lot in. We're actually having more and more in UFC, but you'll have a lot in one championship. Have you watched any of their?
I've watched. What's his name? Is it Kevin? Is his name?
Oh yeah, Bellingham.
Kevin Bellingham. He's a monster. He's like really good. Like really like. I would have never guessed that he had a Sanda background. Also, he's Filipino like me, so that's definitely like I feel there's a lot of pride in that to say. So, but yeah, I mean, like it's like if you train it long enough, if you work at it hard enough, and you make it work, then I don't see why not. You know, but I guess it really depends on how you train too. You know, like because I mean, there's a lot of professional fighters that do have traditional backgrounds. They've successfully been able to like implement it into MMA. It totally is possible. I mean, Sanda is it is a Chinese martial art in its own right. It's a mixed martial art. You can make the debate on whether or not on origins and stuff, but in the end, it is a Chinese martial art rooted in tradition. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, I think Sanda is really like underrated as a style, as an art form of combat, and yeah, I'm just really impressed with how those guys can really pull it off.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's like you've seen people be very successful in MMA, because sometimes you'll see like people online say like, oh, how would it work in a MMA fight, or then how would it work in a real life?
You ever try getting thrown? That's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I think sometimes people just troll and like, maybe they just want to get some reaction or whatever. But now that you have more experience in the style, like you can say that it's harder than.
It's definitely harder than it looks. It's easy to throw a punch. Or to like kick or do a side or throw. It's a lot more difficult, I'd say, to like defend it and like really kind of like practically apply it. Like especially in sparring, we did a little bit of light sparring actually before we did this, and it was actually, I'll be honest, it was sort of my real first sparring attempt. I would say I've done some before, but nothing like this where I actually had like proper kind of, I wouldn't say proper training, but just real like I learned more tools before I could properly like try and apply them. It was definitely a lot harder than it is because you're really like under that pressure. So I think you really should like if you're gonna spar, really kind of like work on your tools and then go from there.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said a little while ago too, where it's like Sanda, even though you might hear that it's kind of like it is a blend of different things. Like the Chinese have even said they want to try to kind of mix in some Western boxing or different things like that. But ultimately, it is very Chinese, right?
Yeah.
Like the way, like the point of view or perspective. So like even if they add Western boxing, it is added through like a Chinese perspective, and then all of the things that are kind of blended together, like with the even like there's like upper body throws and stuff that come from traditional Chinese wrestling, and so it is like these kickboxing, boxing, wrestling done through Chinese perspective. So it ultimately is a Chinese martial art in itself. It's not some kind of random like copy of Muay Thai or copy of Taekwondo. It is in itself something that
there is overlap. There are similarities. I mean, like Shuai Jiao is older than Judo, but a lot of the throws you see in Shuai Jiao can be found in Judo. I mean, there's only so many ways you can throw someone, and there's only so many ways you can like throw a punch or something like that. Yeah, so there's overlap, but ultimately, yeah, you're right. Sanda is very much Chinese in origin, and I feel really proud to like learning such a really like fascinating like eclectic style, I would say. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any other like observations that you'd like to share?
Any other observations that I can think of? Like I said, it's harder than it looks. So yeah, got nothing else beyond that. You got me there. I don't know what else to say.
You keep training then?
Oh yeah. I don't see why I would stop at this point because this is fun. I love martial arts since I was a kid, but I never been able to train until about now, and so I'm really like, I mean, I'm not getting any older. I'm not getting any younger. What am I talking about?
You're going back.
I'm going backwards, but yeah, no, I'm like I'm in my early 30s at the moment. I'm like, they're like, why stop a train now? Like, I was like, it's got to keep going. So I'm like really like looking forward to keep training more, and yeah, power to you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for taking time out to speak with us.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.